Hey everybody, James W. Falcon here, and this is the very first episode in my multi-part and multi-episode series called Lies and Soul Ties. And I'm super excited to be able to bring this topic and information to you. Let me just tell you right up front, this is a no judgment zone. This is not about beating you and battering you with any form, shape, fashion of any kind of religion. What I'm going to share is from personal experience and from what has bubbled up and come to the surface in my men's forum that I created back in 2010 that's called When Men Speak. And the men's forum is designed for men to have healthy conversations between each other about the women, the issues that they may have with the women in their lives. The idea is to have a healthy environment for men to communicate, and then they encourage each other to go back to the women in their lives and to represent the issue, to restate the issue, but this time in a loving, caring, considerate manner, as opposed to with the furor and fire that they had perhaps the first time. And the idea is that men in the network would develop a methodology for communicating to the women in their lives that will be effective and tender and patient and loving the first time around. That's what When Men Speak is all about, and that's why I want to do this topic, Lies and Soul Ties, from that particular project. So what we want to talk about are the lies, okay? So we're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about a lot of sex, but we're going to talk about the impact of sex on our lives. And we want to talk about this thing called lies. So lies are what we tell ourselves to comfort ourselves into thinking that the sexual interactions that we are having will not have some bearing later on down the line. We lie to ourselves because we say things like, well, I'm just going to do a little porn, I'm just going to go to a strip club for a minute, I'm just going to masturbate for a minute or two just because I'm frustrated, I need an outlet, something's got to give. My wife's not acting right, my lady's not acting right, I'm in between relationships. We tell ourselves a bunch of things, but here's what we don't tell ourselves truthfully, is the fact that that sexual interaction is going to have some lingering effects. And it always, hear me, sexual interactions always have an effect on the people involved. It may not be at that particular time, but it will happen. So if you, man, are the one at the strip club or is the one watching pornography, you may say, well, this is just something, it's innocent, it only involves me. No, it doesn't, and I'll explain that in upcoming episodes. So you want to stay with me on this because this is not revelatory stuff. You know these things deep down in your heart, your soul, and your mind. Deep down in your being, what I'm going to share with you will resonate as truth, and you'll confirm that. But what I want to share with you is some of the things that you can do to offset the detriment and to offset, minimize, lower, eliminate some of the detrimental effects that you cause and create in these sexual interactions. Okay? Soul ties. Let me tell you what a soul tie is. A soul tie is what happens sometimes as a result of intimacy and sexual interactions and so forth. It can happen as a result of other things, but you're more likely to have a soul tie happen during a sexual, sensual interaction. And here's why. Sex is a vehicle through the body into the soul. The soul is the seat of your emotions. It's where and how you think and feel. It's the thing that lets people in this physical world know that you are who you are. It is the seat of understanding. It is the place from which you perceive. It is your perception of this world and the physical all happens in the seat of your soul. And what people tend to do during sexual interactions and as a result of sexual interactions is they lay claim to your soul. If you ever had a woman say to you, men, if you ever have a woman say to you, listen, I don't care where you are on the planet, what you're doing, you're always going to be mine. That's a soul tie. What they are doing is they're connecting themselves to the seat of your being, and they won't let you go. And you may think, well, that's innocent and that's harmless until you separate from that person and want to move on. 10, 15, 20 years down the line, man, you find the right woman, you want to settle down and get married. But you have a problem in that interaction. You know why? Because while you are claimed, you have committed to this new woman, this other woman is holding on to bits and pieces of your soul. She is somewhere in your heart, somewhere in your thinking, somewhere in your feeling. And if you are not careful, you have opened a little door or a window for her to come in. It may just be in your thoughts, but she's coming into your life in some way, because in reality, she never let you go in the first place. This completes the first part of this multi-part session. Boy, this thing's going to be hot. It's going to be heavy, and you are going to enjoy this. Trust me when I tell you. Soul ties, lies and soul ties. This is part one. We'll be back at you for the rest of this series in just a bit. Take care.